Guys, welcome to Lemons to Lemonade. My name's Kara, and we are a furniture flipping family located deep in the heart of Texas. So today we're going to show you guys one of our really great finds that we started at the beginning of this year. It is a 1960s Kent coffee dresser called the Ming. So we picked this really cool guy up at an auction. That's where we get most of our stuff from. I got curious as to what this guy retailed for because you can clearly see the stamp on the inside of one of the drawers with the name of Kent Coffee and what this dresser is called, the Ming, on the drawer. So I started searching on the internet just to see what it looked like when it was original and if there's any like older ones that were still out there to purchase, and I did find some, and I found that they listed in their original condition between $900 up to $3,000. So I was really excited when we found this one, but the one thing was when we got it at the auction, it was in really, really bad shape. Such bad shape that this piece is kind of known for its hardware, and I'm gonna link a picture to the original down into the comment section so you can see what it used to look like. But when we picked it up, so much of the hardware was already broken off of it. The sides of the hardware was in really bad shape. So we had to scratch the hardware completely, which was really sad because the hardware was really, really cool detail on this dresser. So the hardware was really messed up. They had spray painted the front of the drawers, which caused a lot of problems when we had to sand it all off. And then there was a lot of overspray on the drawers as well on the inside. And then the top of this and the sides used to be completely mahogany, and they had stripped all of that beautiful mahogany wood off. Not only that, but not only have they stripped all of that goodness off, ruined the hardware, and spray painted the front, and then it looked like they completely gave up on the project, and I think it sat in the garage for like a good 20 or 30 years because it was just really, really bad when we got it. But because we picked it up at an auction and it was in such bad shape, no one really wanted it, and so we got this guy for the bargain price of $33. So we were super excited to have this really cool 1960s retro piece and just to see what we could do with it. So you guys are going to see how we flipped this today. I used a really cool beigey color from Sherwin-Williams, and I'll tag that in the bottom of this video too. And then not only did we use the beige chalk paint from Sherwin-Williams, but I also added some metallic sparkle into it. So you can't probably see on the video, but when you get close and look at the dresser up close, you can see that it sort of has a sparkle to it. And then we added some new gold pulls just to modernize it and bring it up to speed so it looked like a really great MCM type dresser. A little bit like it did back in the 1960s, and hopefully someone will really love to put this in their home. So at the very end, I'll tell you what we ended up listing this for and how we go about selling it. So stay tuned. This is what the dresser looked like when we bid on it at the auction site originally. This is the original picture that was attached. And in this one, you can see on the sides and the top where they had removed that mahogany that was originally on the piece. So when we got the piece home, I was really hoping we were going to be able to salvage that hardware on the front, but there was just so much of it broken, there was just no way to do it. So the hardware had to go. We're going to make sure we give this piece a really good scuff sand. I love my Surf Prep 3x4 electric ray sander. I highly recommend picking up one of these if you do a lot of furniture projects. It is really great, very handy, easy to use, and quick. It makes a real quick work out of any drawers that we do. These drawers needed a good sand to help get out those nicks and cuts that were indented in there from that previous hardware. And then I wanted to make sure I gave everything else a good scuff sand to make sure that my paint adhered to the surface when we started painting. Always make sure that your pieces are nice and clean before you sell them. I like to take my vacuum attachments and make sure I get in all of the insides of the dresser. Nobody wants to go home with your cobwebs, so you just make sure you get everything nice and clean before you continue on with your project. Next, we're going to clean the piece really well. I like to use crud cutter, and you just mix it according to the bottle directions on the back with some warm water. Just going to want to make sure that everything is nice and degreased before you start painting your project, or the paint will have a hard time adhering to it. This is also a really great time to check out all the drawers and the tracks and things like that to make sure that nothing is broken. Just a nice way to give your piece a once over before you can start painting it. So while I was cleaning, I did find a broken track on the back of one of the drawers. It's a very easy fix. I just take a little bit of wood glue, make sure it's down into that track really well, and then I'm just going to take a clamp and clamp it shut and let it dry for 24 hours. Now we need to use some wood filler to go in and fill the holes on the sides of the dresser where the hardware was. Since I don't plan on finding hardware that's going to fit on the sides, we need to go back in and fill in those holes so the front looks nice and flat. Now that my wood fill is dry, I'm going to go back with my Surf Prep sander and a 220 grit sandpaper and just sand down the front so that it's nice and flat and ready for paint.
I'm going to need to prime this piece, so I like to use Zinsser Bin primer on my pieces. First thing you want to do is make sure that you've got some tin foil in a throwaway paint pan, and I like to use a little roll-on brush as well. This stuff doesn't wash out easily, so you want to make sure that you use it on something you can throw away. I'm going to make sure I go over the top of this dresser because it does have some water damage on the top, and like I said, it was a previous mahogany, so I don't know if I'm going to run into any problems with bleed through or wood tannin bleed through when I put on my light beige paint. It's not something that I'm going to risk, so I want to make sure that this thing is nice and primed before I start with any light paint colors. Now that my top and sides are all primed, I'm going to come back in with a 220 sanding grit block and just smooth everything down so that my paint goes on nice and smooth on the top and there's no bumpy or brush marks left over on the top or sides of this piece after we apply our paint. For my paint, I used an acrylic pearlescent mixing medium that I got off of Amazon. And then I also used a Sherwin-Williams chalk paint in the color Greek Villa. I'm going to take both of these and shake them up really good before I pour them into my HVLP gravity fed spray gun. For the mixing medium, you can mix it up according to the package directions on the bottle, or you can just add as much sparkle as you want into your project. You have total control of how much sparkle you want on your paint project when you're adding this to your piece. When using chalk paint in your HVLP, you're going to want to make sure that it's watered down a little bit. We found the best solution is to just add enough water to cover the top of the paint, just like that. And then you're going to want to mix it up really good. So the HVLP has a little hole in the top of it. You're going to make sure you seal that with your finger before you start shaking, and shake it vigorously so you get everything nice and mixed up so your spray gun won't sputter when you start to spray this on your project. To add some protection to the top, I like to use Varathane polyurethane. This is the only poly that will not turn my lighter painted pieces yellow. I like to apply 2 coats to the drawers and the front, and 3 to 4 coats to the top for maximum protection for my pieces. So I found these really great rose gold holes for the top of the drawers, and we're going to put those on. I'll link them, the Amazon link in the bottom.
as you can see, this took a whole lot of work. It took us maybe 10 days to fully finish this project. We didn't work on it every single day, but this one took a lot more than the average dresser that we flipped, just because it had so many things that needed to be fixed. So we listed this just this morning for $320 on Facebook Marketplace. We've already got quite a few looks at it, quite a few hits of people that are interested. No bites yet, but we'll see where we end up, and we'll let you all know. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.